as they are on, if you will, their farewell tour. As they are on, if you will, their farewell tour. Daytona Beach, playground for many parts of the United States and for most of the year a holiday destination. But just a couple of 3 miles back from the sand, one of the most awesome racetracks in the world. 43-degree banking on the turns and a tricky extra mile of the infield circuit on the northern coast of Florida, as the cars are rolling out for the first round of the IMSA WeatherTech Championship 2017. Just over 3.5 miles, 12 corners, including all 4 corners on the speedway. The Audi pace car, as it is now, leads the field around, and the top 3 are all Cadillacs. It's not been an absolutely clean run on this formation lap, Jeremy, for all of the cars.
There was a massive lockup going into the International Horseshoe there from car number 46, I think it was, Emanuele Busnelli at the EBI Motors Lamborghini Huracan. But up at the front of the field, everything looks to be reasonably good shape, I think, and there will be they'll come around and take the green flag on a second go around. That's when the race will be underway. So another 3 or 4 minutes before we get this race underway, but I'll tell you what, there's so much excitement building here.
I'm really think here that we could see something very special. Let's have a quick recap of our IHG Rewards Club keys to the race. Jeremy, patience. I'm excited. These drivers must be excited. They're not passionless people. They will want to get started and race, and they've got to have patience in the early running.
Yeah, I went to the drivers' meeting this morning, and it was so cool. I mean, everybody there was pumped up, ready to go, and you could feel the nervous energy in the room. It was really good fun.
Reliability will play an issue with so many new cars, so many new teams, but the whole front of the field, I can't remember a last time when we had nobody who was with the same car, the same engine as last year. A new formula, it often throws up a surprise.
Well, yes, it does, and there's a lot of, you said a little while ago, there is a lot of trepidation on the pit lane, and a lot of question marks waiting to be answered. So we shall see. The cars, they look fantastic. This new breed of cars really has galvanized this sport again, a whole fresh lot of interest. And you just look at here in front of us, there's a lot of people here in the grandstands, and it's super to see. Great atmosphere here, so much enthusiasm for this new brand of motorsport.
Teamwork is an important part of any motor race.
In this race, the prototype cars, the fuel tank's a little bit smaller than last year. Also, they're using E20 fuel, so a little bit more alcohol basically added to the fuel this year, a bit more conservation, if you like, but it also means the fuel is a bit less efficient, so they can't go quite as long as they did in the past. I would expect to see pit stops anywhere between 35 and 40 minutes, probably a little bit less than usual. Maybe 22 laps, I believe, the prototype cars might be able to go on a full tank of fuel.
And the weather. Anytime between 10 o'clock tonight and potentially 4 o'clock in the morning, we're keeping an eye on that. Wet and dark here is never good news for the teams. Lots of tough choices to make at that point.
Yeah, but great conditions right now. It's still fairly cool, certainly, but overcast skies. The clouds are pretty high. No chance of rain, at least for several hours yet. And these are really perfect racing conditions right now. The air is fairly thin, fairly cool. The engine should be breathing well. There should be enough heat on the track, though, to get the tyres up to temperature. Perfect.
And GTD teams, remember, 28 sets of tyres throughout the whole weekend. That doesn't include their wet weather allocation. Focus, Jeremy. Got to be there when the sun comes up, and that will be at a relatively late 7:15 tomorrow morning.
Yes, so much hours of darkness here during this race. A complete change in comparison to the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Take a deep breath. This may be the last time you get to do that for several hours. We've seen, having said all of that in our IHG Rewards Club keys to the race, just how important it seems to be for the drivers to get into a groove very very quickly, and the fast and furious nature of endurance racing nowadays really means, and in all the driver chats I've done for the various manufacturers this week already, all the drivers are telling me it's a sprint from when your finger comes off the pit lane speed limiter till when you're in the pit lane and the fuel lights come back on.
And so cool to hear all these different engine notes out there. Isn't that fun? I mean, there's such variety on this field. They're coming now through the banking, through turns 3 and 4. The pace car is speeding up, pulling away from the field. We're not far away now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're listening here in the Speedway Stadium section. Get on your feet. You will be able to say that you were here at the start of a brand new endurance era. The new formula for prototypes. The Cadillacs have their headlights on, the white lights beaming down the tri-oval, and we're getting ready to go green. Joao Barbosa and his teammate Dane Cameron from Action Express, and Joao Barbosa jumps out straight away as we go green for the 2017 edition, the 55th running of the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, live on IMSA Radio across the world from Daytona International Speedway. And Barbosa's got an absolute flyer. Dane Cameron, Neil Janney starting the Oregon number 13 for Rebellion in third position, made up a bit of ground there, and the GT Le Mans cars already trying to get on terms with some of the PC runners.
Off the road. Is that one of the Acuras?
That is one of the Acuras,
yes,
Jeremy, going through there. It is the 86 car, the 86 Acura, one of the brand new NSXs, and the 81 Dragon Speed car, starting from the back of the prototype class, is having to battle with the Fords and the Porsches and the Corvettes. That wasn't in the plan for Dragon Speed and Elton Julian's team. Meantime, further up the field, Brendan Hartley's got his hands full as well, with Steven Simpson and Jonathan Bomarito right around him, as they're onto the high banks for the second time of asking.
There's a very racy start there also from Ricky Taylor in that number 10 Konica Minolta Cadillac, but Neil Janney able to repel that challenge and retain third place behind the two Action Express Cadillacs. It is the Mustang sampling car that leads from the Whelen Engineering Cadillac as they come around the banking towards the completion of lap 1.
Through the bus stop, always a difficult place to get through, and everybody has made it. The two Porsches resplendent in their new colours for 2017, echoing the Stuttgart shield on the front of every single Porsche car. The 911 and the 912 side by side, as the leaders are already on the infield, not really helping themselves there. Needed to be doing a bit more drafting.
Is that Nicolas Lapierre onto pit lane? No, it's not, is it? It's the PR1 Matheson Motorsports machine that is onto pit lane at the end of lap 1. Interesting to me that the headlights are not on the two leading Cadillacs. You're supposed to have your headlights on, and they don't have those on the number 5 or the number 31 car.
I checked the regs for that. It does now say in the hours of darkness, and so that may be a slight change to the rules of those cars. They did have them open as they were coming to the start into the pit lane then for Tom Kimber-Smith in the number 12 Ligier.
The engine cover is off,
and that is not great news for that car. We'll get a report from Shea Adam and Nick Damon, who is going to be in the pit lane in a month or two's time, but the cover is off that car. Jeremy, nice clean start. Joao Barbosa, Dane Cameron, Neil Janney and Ricky Taylor. In fact, everyone have done their jobs exactly as you would imagine.
Yeah, indeed. So Ricky Taylor certainly got a bit racy down there at turn when he tried to go around the outside, and for a moment there, a couple of cars...
suspension issue on the rear right of the Oreca. Oh dear.
On the first lap, that's strange.
So 4 minutes down. Let's go down to Shea Adam, where that this is very bad news early on, Shea, for the number 12 Oreca.
Yeah, it is. They pulled into the pits and immediately took the engine cover off. They knew what they were looking for. As soon as this car came to a stop, went to work on it very quickly indeed. And it doesn't look like anything is broken, actually, John. Just maybe something came loose. They're trying to tighten a hose that has come off on the right side of the engine bay. But I'm not alone anymore because I think a Mazda, yeah, it is, the 70 just came in. Nick?
Yeah, the 70 Mazda just came in. It looked like there was no problem, but in fact, all that happened was they actually topped it up with fuel. So almost though they want to take it out of the battle with the rest of the cars, it just came in, took about, I would say, 6 seconds or 7 seconds of fuel, and went back out again with no checks, no plugging in a computer or anything, just back up on the road again.
And that team has been, they've made no bones about the fact they are going to this race in a very conservative mode. You know, we know the problems they've had over the last several seasons, and this is a brand new car, obviously. The engine is pretty similar to last year, but certainly some changes to it. It has a little bit more horsepower with the new DPI regulations, but they are very much in conservation mode. And as I think, as Nick Damon suggests there, just get out of the competitive area, get to the back of the field. They're not too worried about that. They are just concerned about exactly your IHG keys to the race being here in the morning.
Yeah, and we've seen that these guys know how to work the strategy, and falling out of that pack may not be the worst thing for them as it stands.
The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship
go
is
down
the premier
to
sports car racing series in
perhaps
North
shed
America.
some light on this number 12 car, Mike Gwash.
Mike Gwash, you're one of the drivers of the 52, and we were saying before the race, odd years are pretty good for you. The good news is it's a long race. What's the problem with your car?
Yeah, we've been fighting this problem all week. Seems to be a problem with the shifting mechanism, running out of air. Who knows? It's a leak. We can't identify it, so and we were just hoping it would work after all the fixes we did this over the night, and then obviously it's not fixed.
Did Tom know on the first lap, or did he know on the parade lap?
Oh yeah, just as soon as he took off from the green flag, it won't shift, bring it in.
It's a long race. Keep your chin up.
Sorry?
It's a long race. Keep your chin up.
No, I know. Thank you.
And just to update you, the number 18 Lamborghini did take the start of the race.
Yeah, okay.
So that car might not have been out there in echelon, but it has taken the start of the race and is competitive. So we did have the 55 cars start the 55th running. That will be the quiz question in a few years' time.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that the car wasn't out there. I don't know why it wasn't out there on the starting grid, but certainly they did get a replacement car. That car was hugely, massive amount of damage yesterday. The car, they had a failure just before the braking area for turn one. The car turned sharp left, hit that Rolex wall, if you like.
And off has gone the 16 Lamborghini.
It's a change racing
that
entry.
is the change racing entry. Now that was at the Horseshoe, and that may well bring a full course yellow, the West Horseshoe I should say. At the moment that is local yellows. I can see the yellow lights flashing at the far end of the racetrack from us off to our right. The race continues for the lead between Charles Barbosa and Dane Cameron, and they're heading up to that area of the track at the moment. PC led by Johnny Molan, back out of retirement for this race only, wants a second watch, one for each of his children. James French in second position, just half a second back. GTLM, Ford, Ferrari, Tony Villander getting a great start and getting in amongst the Ford GTs. Richard Westbrook in third for fourth place for Ford 67, and Jan Magnussen in the yellow Corvette. Next up in GTD, Alessandro Perguidi leads for Ferrari, the 51 machine, with Marco Sorensen for Aston Martin in second, and Alessandro Balzan has third position for the 63 Scuderia Corsa team. That's how they stand with 8 minutes completed, and still yellow flags at the west end of the circuit at the Horseshoe.
Yeah, Aston Martin then splitting the two Ferraris at the front of the field in GTL, but a big long train of cars there. This is going to be a tremendous dogfight all the way through the night.
And the 52 Shea Adam has the rear cover back on.
It does, and Tom Kimber-Smith fired it up. The headlights came on and blinded everyone further down from it onto pit lane, but the car did not move, and then we saw the lights come on. The pits are closed, full course caution.
Jerron Mull is the man who has caused that, with the Chevy safety vehicle already at the scene. Gave them a couple of moments to see if that car would move under its own steam, but it hasn't. And Dennis Paul, our veteran starter, experienced starter, let me say, I shouldn't say that, Dennis, my apologies, is the man who has the double yellows out. There's damage to the left front of the matte black, white and green Lamborghini. This is the Huracan GT3. Driver being spoken to at the moment may have had a little help from the car he was battling with at the moment. It's the NSX number 93 that he was battling with. Just gone through. Oh no, through the kink, got onto the right-hand curb.
Didn't need any help.
No, he did that all on his own. That would have been a real eye-opening moment, because he knew, I'm afraid Jerome Mull knew, he was going to have a big accident from a very long way out at that point.
Yeah, and a bit of a tank supper going on through the kink, I think, and got a couple of wheels off over the curb on the grass on the exit of turn 4, and after that he was basically a passenger. The car went from one side to the other, and then it kept on going onto the grass on the other side of the road, and finally into the tyre barrier. So hopefully he was able to scrub off a goodly amount of speed and not have too much damage on the car. But it's a great onboard footage there from the number 93 car, and aboard that car for the starting stint is Andy Lally, one incidentally of 7 Team USA scholarship drivers who's taking starting duties in this race. It's rather fun, that, isn't it?
Of 11 in total,
who were in
total, but 7 of them getting the starting duties. We get to take a breath rather earlier than I was hoping for, if I'm honest. 11 minutes in or 10 minutes in, and well, Joao Barbosa gets to take a breather. He had made a pretty decent start in that Cadillac. 2 changes further down though, with Tony Vilander getting in amongst the Fords, but Olivier Pla just nicking back 4th position before the yellow came out from Jan Magnussen. So Ford number 66 from GTLM 2nd position, Ferrari number 62. We've seen that before, from Ford 67 and 68, then Jan Magnussen, and the top 6 made up by the first of the Porsches. And in GTD, Ferrari, Aston, Ferrari, Porsche being 51, 98, 63 and 59. Matteo Caroli in the 59 Porsche there. Top 6 including Conor De Felipe, one of those Team USA alumni, doing starting duties for the 29 Land Motorsport Audi, and Mirko Bortolotti for Lamborghini number 11. Jeremy Shaw. Yeah,
we talked about the conditions been really good right now, and really racy conditions. The fastest lap so far, a 1:37.536, has been set by Joao Barbosa. His teammate Dane Cameron, by the way, just 2/100ths of a second slower. The Ricky Taylor Cadillac also a lap time within, well, just over a 1/10 of a second behind that. But a 1:37.5 pole time was 36.9.
Wow.
So just 7/10 away from the pole time in the early stage of this race. That's pretty remarkable for me.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that sort of pace.
Full fuel as well. Number of people pointing out, and thank you. Tweets please to @IMSA Radio. Use the hashtag Rolex24. Rolex24. The number 70 had a plastic bag in the intake. That's very interesting. So that's why that car came in. The 81 car is in the pit lane. Let's go down to our pit lane reporters.
Yeah, John, the 81 car, of course, came in with the pit lane officially closed. The red light's still very much flashing. The car's not all in snake file behind the car. Now, I'm now walking up to see what happens. I was waiting for the cars to come in, but at the moment it's a check on the rear right.
Thank you, Nick. Nick Damon, our Continental Tire pit lane reporter at that part of the pit lane. You are allowed to come in for emergency service, but it does mean you'll have to come in again at the end of the yellow flag area. Great to hear the engines around the circuit, as Nick Damon tells me.
The 81 has left with only a man looking at his tyre, the right rear. Now, whether they were wondering if there was a slow puncture or whether they thought he just felt something, but it's quite extreme to come in when the pits are closed for a slight feeling, but nothing's been done unless there's nothing they can.
Thanks, Nick.
Safety first, I think, at this stage in the game.
What, 185, 190 mile an hour on the banking?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're under caution now, so he could easily have completed, perhaps he could have completed another lap, wouldn't have had to do 180 miles an hour on the banking, so he could have gone down there pretty slowly, but by the same token, you don't want to, if he felt something amiss, even going around slowly around here, if there'd been something that was on the verge of breaking this, he had felt, then better to get it into the pit sooner. And yes, it'd have to go to the back, but hey, a small price to pay, I think, at this stage in the race. On board shot there with Andy Lally at the wheel of this very exciting new Acura NSX. And the drivers, they worked, that whole team, Michael Shank Racing, Kurt Agajani, they worked so hard along with the Jazz Motorsports that built those cars in Europe. The Japanese engineers, there's a big collaboration between Michael Shank Racing and the Honda of American Racing team as well.
Just chatted in and had a quick earwig with Loic Duvet, asking what the problem was on the 81. They had a very high engine temperature as well, so possibly they've picked up a bag or something to block the air vents as well. So perhaps the massive crowd here has been a little bit you know, unaware of where their bags have gone. But hopefully that's been cleared out and the car will carry on going. But that explains why you pull it in, because you've got that sort of temperature. You can't do another lap without breaking the engine.
Yeah, it's a good point, Nick. It is quite breezy here as well, Jeremy, and the infield very busy indeed. I'm looking at the bleachers on the exit of the International Horseshoe, full, beyond the kink, full, down by where the Lamborghini just went off, also full, and a goodly crowd still in front of us as we go back to Green Flag Racing, and the two Action Express Cadillacs come back to the green flag. It was a quickie yellow as Shea described, so we didn't get the pits opening for full service. And a decent start again by Joao Barbosa, Joey Hand and Tony Vilander side by side as they went across the line, and a slow prototype down on the infield. It was the 52 car that was going very slowly indeed, and he's now being passed by the GT field as it goes into the infield area. Was right down on the apron, Jeremy, as they came across the stripe to restart after that first caution. That's the PR1 Matheson Motorsports Ligier, and so that car is still not very happy. Meantime, the battles continue in the GT category in particular. It's an unbelievable gaggle of cars.
Yes.
The NSX and the Lexus competitive at the moment, in and amongst the Lamborghinis and the Audis. The 57 Stevenson car down the inside at turn 6 on the number 48. That's the Paul Miller racing car. All four Stevenson drivers from last year piled up in the car. They've got a year of running under their belt this year. As through goes the Mazda on the high side, the dark grey 7-0 machine. That's amazing, isn't it, Jeremy? Because those GT cars are quick through there, and you see the Mazda go around the high side as if those guys have got the handbrake on down through the bus stop. The Mazda right in the thick of it at the moment. The 57 car with Andrew Davis on starting duties, by the way, for Stevenson in 12th position. And a lot of rumours about what Stevenson might be doing or might not be doing, particularly with regard to going back to the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge with a car released from the team. To address those rumours, they are focused entirely on the Audi programme in GT Daytona in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, which is live. That's what you're listening to at the moment, live from trackside at Daytona. Jeremy. Nicolas
Lapierre back onto pit lane in car number 81. That's a Dragon Speed entry. Also in PC, a change of lead there. James French, the pole sitter, has moved past Johnny Molan, who led the opening stages of the race. Looks like a drive-through perhaps for Nicolas Lapierre. He's stayed in the fast lane all the way down. So yeah, it'll be a drive-through penalty for car number 81.
Right, that is because of coming in with the pits closed, of course. So that that will be just a quick through. If you're looking for live timing, IMSA.com or the IMSA app. Don't forget, 3 different versions of the IMSA app depending on your operating system. As Andrew Davis gets by the number 48 with Brian Sellers behind the wheel. We wish our best to Jamie Howe, Brian's wife, who is about to deliver child number 2 and not here this weekend. Best wishes to all the family there. Jamie, I'm sure you're tuned in somewhere. We miss you here. And can you please not have another child that's as cute as Liam, please, because it puts us all to shame. live from trackside.
So fast, that one, I'm afraid.
Well, I know. Well, you've got a cute dog, Jeremy. You know that you have the cutest dog in motorsport now. It's true. So, settling into a groove after a quick yellow flag period for the Lamborghini number 16 of Jerome Mull, who went into the wall. 7 minutes and 9 seconds under full course yellow. We've had 20 minutes since the drop of the green flag, and no one other than Joao Barbosa has led the race.
Yeah, we haven't seen that number 16 car back in the action, so I think it must have been taken back behind the wall there.
Correct.
And being brought back to the pits via the infield.
Yeah, and I've got to get used to the fact that those cars won't be coming back out again. In watching different regulations.
911 too. Did we won't mention that, have we?
Haven't seen it. It's dropped down through the timing and scoring, and all of a sudden the 911 with Nico Lapierre is down there.
Patrick Pilet in the 911.
Excuse me, Patrick Pilet in the 911. Nico Lapierre also had early problems. We did mention that one in the 81 Dragon Speed car.
That's been in the pits a couple of times, once for drive-through penalty, but the 911 seems to have gone missing on that lap.
Now, he did come through with the GT LM pack, so that might just be a transponder issue. So let's not panic the guys at the newly renamed Porsche GT team. Well, a sensible start. The 70 coming back through the field now has clawed its way back up to 25th position. I reckon Joel Miller just wanted to pass a lot of cars. Came in, said, I need to top it up. Never mind about this overheating nonsense. He's just decided, I'm going to stay on this lead lap so I can have a bit of fun. Let's see how many cars I can pass in the next couple of laps. It's one of the new Mazda prototypes with the 2-litre turbocharged engine already up to the PC field, and has Chris Cumming right ahead of him in the bright pink and white number 8 as they go through into the infield for their 10th lap. For their 11th lap, actually. They've completed 10, and Joel, sort of, but not. Not quite decisive there by Joel at the head of the field. Joao Barbosa by half a second over his teammates.
Just set a new fastest lap of the race, a 1:37.150. That would have been good enough for fourth on the grid, only 0.2 of a second away from Joao Barbosa's qualifying pole position yesterday. That's pretty impressive. The number 911 car, by the way, is out there where it should be.
He's had a bad lap, Jeremy. 3.5 minutes on the last lap. Just gone across the start-finish line.
Okay, well, that's odd, because it's in exactly the same position on the road as it was the previous few laps as well. It's right behind.
Right, do we think what's happened there then? It's missed a whole lap. No, it's not. That's not enough time, because a lap for the GTs is 1:44. That would be no, that's about right. It's missed the start line one time around, isn't it? That's a double lap. 3:29, half of that.
Yeah, I think it must be a transponder glitch. I think you're right.
Meantime, the WeatherTech number 50 heading around the inside of the banking as everybody's jostling for position early on. Great to see and hear these Cadillacs, and it will be a massive sigh of relief for all of the prototypes who are out there that they've got a few laps under their belts already. Remember, this is an unproven category for both the DPIs and the global LMP2s. They have not raced before, and not sure any of them have even done a 24-hour test, if I'm honest. I can tell you that the Porsche 911 RSR, and if you were listening to IMSA Radio earlier on, you would have heard their program chief saying that they did 50 hours of testing continuously at Sebring as part of the development of the new 911 RSR, with the engine and the gearbox swapped around, pushing the engine well over 12 inches further forward in the chassis, allowing them to exploit the rear aero rules, put that honking great diffuser underneath. And that is a direct translation from the regulations. Honking great is a measure of size in FIA regs.
Very good. New fastest lap of the race, by the way, set actually by the second place car of Dane Cameron. Turned a 1:37.9 1:04.15 on the previous lap. He's just going to come across the line to complete lap 12. It was on lap 11 that he set the new fastest lap of the race. So those three Cadillacs now diving inside the Conrad Motorsport Lamborghini from GTD down at the International Horseshoe. Absolutely nose to tail, those three Cadillacs. They've been super strong all the way through the practice sessions, and this is an awesome early pace that they are setting. I'm really surprised to be seeing them going that fast.
Close moment on the banking for the second place car of Joao Barbosa as the number 27 Lamborghini wandering around in the middle of the braking area into the first corner. Not smart driving at all, I'm afraid, from Lawrence de George, Larry de George.
No, it was number 21 car.
That was a 21, excuse me,
so.
my eyes.
Was it 21, the Conrad car, the teal colored car, was it?
I think it was the 20. I think it was the white car, the 21 car.
Okay, fine, beg your pardon.
The 27 car, excuse me, yeah. Just need to keep your focus here in these early moments, not get overawed by the occasion as the battle for the lead between the three Cadillacs is beginning to close up again. And
just a quick note, the Lawrence de George that drives the car number 27 Dream Racing Motorsport Lamborghini. He's the oldest driver in the race. He's also probably the least experienced. He only started racing just over a year ago. Has done a year and a half of the Lamborghini's Blancpain Super Trofeo. Super enthusiastic, but not yet perhaps was certainly not the same sort of experience level as pretty much every other driver in the field.
Well, Safari Sigudi, as they say, as this brave new era for IMSA, and it is brave. I use those words not at all flippantly. There was more than the odd eyebrow raised by the self-proclaimed experts about the DPI and LMP2 global categories, and I have to say I was one of the ones, particularly of the LMP2 global, that wasn't too enamoured of going to just 4 chassis. We still of course wait to see how that will shake out in terms of the entries for the FIA World Endurance Championship in a week or so's time. In fact, under that, isn't it? It's next week. But the DPI, for the moment for me, an unqualified success, allowing manufacturers to get involved, to be able to show their wares in the best possible opportunity. And talking to some of the guys from Cadillac yesterday evening, their designers and engineers from the V&V Sport program, which is Cadillac's sporting road car program, absolutely, totally and utterly embedded in this program. Work with Dallara, who provide the chassis, the styling cues, including the wheels. The wheels have a Cadillac design, and that design has been transferred from the road car to the race car. Obviously very different engineering has to go behind them, but they wanted to make that car look as Cadillac-like as possible, even including the lighting strips on the front of those cars. The interesting thing is that Dylan, one of the designers I spoke to last night, he's a real motorhead, and there's a